A bad day at the office for the Jags. A maybe worse day at the office in Dallas on Jerry Jones' birthday. We mentioned Matthew mixed up a blowout with the Cowboys earlier because
everyone blows up the Cowboys.
Because it's really easy to do that right now. The Lions manhandled this team. It was never a game. Never a game.
I mean, it was. Is this the third or fourth straight game they've given up a 40-burger at home? I mean, right? They gave the Saints, the Packers in the playoffs last year as well. I mean, it was just. I mean, like the Lions did whatever they want. They were truly slapping them like grapes.
It was kind of beautiful to watch, to be honest. Awesome. It was, to see what Dan Campbell was pulling, it was unbelievable. I'm so happy that he did all of that. Just screw it, whatever. Like, it's not just about the wins and losses, it's about making a statement. It's about paying that team back because they got completely screwed out of a victory that would have given them the 2 seed last year on the Decker call.
It was a little weird that, they had some beautiful trick plays. And you're like, you're up 40. Do you really need to be throwing out the
Ben Johnson emptied the bag.
Right, we're going to do the hook and ladder with Penei Sewell. What are we doing? But, God bless. And it's, I don't know. All right, I'm trying to think of what to talk about it from a fantasy perspective. Here's what I will say. First off, the Lions have a good defense, but one of the problems with the Cowboys this entire year is that they are a one-dimensional offense. They've not been able to truly effectively run the ball. They had a little bit of success last week against Pittsburgh when Rico Dowdle got going a little bit, but it's not like he's been explosive. And so when they get into these negative game scripts, when they get into scenarios like this where it's suddenly like their one-dimensional offense has to only be one-dimensional, you can just sort of tee off on them. And it's too easy. It's too easy to do. CeeDee Lamb deserves better. This is Dak Prescott's worst fantasy game since Week 11 of 2021 at Kansas City. Season lows in completion percentage and on-target rate. He's now been under 17 fantasy points in 5 of 6 games this season, including his last 3. We said this a few weeks ago, and I got a lot of grief about this, but he doesn't run, and there are pocket passers in the NFL that are performing at a much higher level. The Baker Mayfields, the Jordan Love. I mean, I don't know that I consider Love more of because he gets you a little bit with his legs.
But yesterday he just dropped back and chucked it all over the field.
1,000%. I mean, but whatever. Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow.
Jared Goff.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I mean, Burrow had a bad fantasy day yesterday, really, although the touchdown run saved him. We'll talk about that. But, right, just my point is that if you're going with a non-mobile quarterback, like a pocket passer, there's a lot better options out there than Dak Prescott right now. He's merely QB2 in fantasy. You're still rolling CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson out there when they're active. They're on a bye next week. But when they get back, because of their talent and the lack of depth at the position, especially tight end. But man, oh man, this is, if you're a Cowboys fan and you see the jersey of my buddy Aites back there, this is soul searching time. This is look in the mirror time. This is.
Wow, you seem very happy, Matthew.
Hail the Commanders, hail victory. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't like the Cowboys. Everyone knows that. I mean, I love Aites. I love CeeDee Lamb. He's my buddy.
They're going to be underdogs in their next 5 games.
After the bye, they're at San Francisco, then they're at Atlanta, then they're home to Philadelphia. Look at that they got 2 weeks to figure this out.
Houston at Washington. This could get.
This could get
ugly. It's already very bad.
This could get ugly quick.
They're 3-3 somehow. They got Micah Parsons back, maybe the best defensive player in football.
In fairness, that's the argument, right? They didn't have DeMarcus Lawrence. They didn't have Micah Parsons in this game. They were banged up on defense, but still, even with backups, you can't give up 40 at home.
That's the key. You got to be competitive or have a pulse.
And honestly, the Lions left some points on the field. There were a couple of plays that were called back.
Right. Could have been 60.
Could have been 60. Look, we talked about this Lions offense on fantasy football pregame, and we thought that the Lions especially would be able to run on the ball, run on the Cowboys, because a lot of teams have been able to run on the Cowboys, and we thought Dave Montgomery, off of signing the big contract, would once again get in the end zone. And I feel like Dave Montgomery is kind of like Derrick Henry without the publicity. Dave Montgomery has scored in every game so far this season. They've only played 5 because they had a bye early, but he scored in every game this season. He's had at least 15 fantasy points in every game this season. He's got 11 goal-to-go rushes this season, including at least 2 in 5 of the 6 games. And, Monty is completely underrated.
Yeah, well, you were all over it before the game. You rode with Monty.
I did.
As we do a little flashback to fantasy football pregame. Thank you, David Montgomery.
Oh, wow, we have tape on this? I did not know.
Roll the tape.
Dave Montgomery, Dave Montgomery's got the new big contract. Congratulations to Dave Montgomery. He's been nothing short of phenomenal. He was on the preseason love list. He was on the preseason love list last year as well. He always gets forgotten. No one seems to ever appreciate it. But I say, Dave Montgomery, one of the most underrated players in fantasy football and the NFL, scores for the 5th straight time. Worth noting, the Cowboys are tied for the 2nd most rushing touchdowns allowed this game. If you're somebody who enjoys betting on anytime touchdowns over at the DraftKings, Dave Montgomery, I think, scores for the 5th straight time. Here we go. I sound
And that he
drunk in
did.
Clip, by the way. I did not realize how drunk I sounded in that clip. You know what I mean?
11 a.m. in Stanford.
That must have been
wrong with
that must have been the 3rd shot of the day of that one. But yeah, Monty comes through, and I don't think he's viewed as an RB1, but I think he is.
In this landscape, it feels like he should be.
They just run the ball so well. It
Right.
seems like they were kind of scuffling the first 2 weeks of the season, the Lions. The offensive line, maybe they were dealing with some injuries, but they seem all the way back. The only other thing out of this game is I think it might be time to get a little bit concerned about amon-ra St. Brown. Like, I think he's just not getting the volume of targets. This is a more democratic, egalitarian offense than last season, where now, like, Tim Patrick is getting involved, and Khalif Raymond and Sam Laporta has the touchdown on the trick play. Like, there's a lot of dudes, and also they run the ball a ton, and they're also really good, so they're going to be leading in games. So I don't know really what amon-ra St. Brown's path is to being, the top 3, top 4 wide receiver that we thought he could be.
He's more of a wide receiver 2 than the wide receiver 1 that he was drafted as. And, like, listen, as long as I'm victory lapping here, allow me just also to, own that I had Jameson Williams on the hate list this week. Dallas really good in theory at defending the deep pass. They weren't Sunday against the Lions. They weren't good at anything. But to your point about amon-ra St. Brown, again, the emergence of Jameson Williams, yet another reason why that amon-ra is not getting as much volume as he needs to. So good for JMO for using my hate list listing as motivation. I'm sure that's what it was, and showing me and everyone up. Good game for the Lions all around. One pride, lion up,
Yes.
fur up,
Fur up.
That's
Hear
what
the-
it is.
hear the
fur
roar.
up. Hear the roar. That
Yeah.
too as well. But fur up, I think.
Restore the roar, yeah.
Restore the roar. I think the roar's been restored.
It has been restored.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's
Thanks
in
to
full
Dan
roar
Campbell.
now.
Yeah.
Brett Holmes.
Yeah. Anyway, I think fur up is the winner. I think that's probably the best one of them all. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.